Lewis Hamilton probably expected the full force of Ferrari's passion when he arrived in Maranello, but not like this. As the 2025 season reaches its boiling point, the Italian media has turned its spotlight squarely on the seven-time champion, and a storm is gathering around the most high-profile signing in recent Ferrari history. What exactly are they claiming Hamilton has done, or failed to do? Stay tuned, you don't want to miss this. Ferrari team principal Fred Vasseur has pushed back against suggestions that the Scuderia's 2025 Formula One campaign amounts to a complete disaster in need of sweeping immediate overhaul. Despite acknowledging the damage inflicted by recent performances, Vasseur rejects the idea that Ferrari's 2025 should be written off as a failure. For sure, we are not in the situation that we didn't score points the last weekend, but we were P2 in the championship 2 weeks ago. It's not that it was a complete disaster. For me, disaster is not the right word, but the tough side is that the last 2 weekends that we scored 6 or 7 points on 2 weekends. But before this, in the championship, we were in front of Mercedes and Red Bull. It means that it's not so dramatic. Charles Leclerc has already admitted he won't miss wrestling with the unpredictable SF25, while teammate Lewis Hamilton has gone on record calling this the worst season of his Formula One career. Now I can perfectly understand the drivers. They want to get more, the Frenchman said. And trust me that in the debriefing on the Monday morning at the factory, I'm also a bit harsh, but it's our DNA that we want to get more in any case. I think Max Verstappen, he will try also to get more from his team, from everybody to do a better job. This is the DNA of everybody into the paddock. It's not a drama. Fred Vasseur also downplayed Lewis Hamilton's downbeat tone after the Las Vegas Grand Prix, describing the seven-time champion's gloomy comments as a normal reaction to a bruising weekend. Vasseur stressed that he saw no real cause for alarm in Hamilton's somber post-race mood, noting that frustration is inevitable when emotions are still running high and results fall short of expectations. "You know perfectly the system," he told media. "The TV pen 5 minutes after the race, when you have a tough race, it's very harsh for them. I can perfectly understand the adrenaline, the emotion, and to have a comment a bit harsh at this stage of the weekend. And I would say that it's normal." I don't know if normal is the right word, but I prefer to have drivers being very open at the end of the race when you didn't do the perfect job, when the car was not good, to say, "Okay, I'm frustrated." And someone going to the TV pen saying, "I know guys, the team is perfect, the car is good, blah blah blah." In this case, you would be upset. You can't blame them in any circumstances, and I think it's quite normal as a human, sometimes on the radio or just after the session, to be a bit not upset, but to be a bit on the emotion. Now, the most important is not what they say on the TV pen, it's what they do on the Monday morning with the team to try to do better and to try to push the team to do better. This is more the job of the drivers than the TV pen. The Frenchman argued that Hamilton's recent form has been compromised by a series of unfortunate incidents that have masked the underlying performance he has shown throughout the season. Yes, it's true that on the mathematical side, the last couple of weekends were very difficult with Brazil DNF, Mexico the penalty, and this one. But overall, I think Mexico, Austin, it was probably also the best weekend of Lewis in terms of pure performance. But now it's true for the team also, and we didn't put everything together the last 2 hours of the weekend, and it's why on the mathematical side and on the championship, we did a huge step down. But in terms of pure performance, I think it's also why we are not in so bad shape compared to the mid-season. I can understand the reaction from Lewis just after the race, but we just have to calm down, to discuss and to be focused on the next two, because the next two we will be back. Keep in mind also that Lewis was there in FP1, in FP3, with the pace was good and we have to build up the weekend like this, and to start from P20 is not the best way to have a good result. While Vasseur admits the closing races of the year are unlikely to bring a dramatic turnaround, he maintains that Hamilton is missing only one crucial ingredient: a trouble-free weekend from start to finish. Today it's difficult, but if you have a look on the last couple of races that we are speaking about, Mexico, it's a matter of a penalty that he was able to be on the podium, he said. I don't think that we have to change completely. It's a matter more to put everything together, and I think we are struggling to have a clean weekend. But it's either the penalty or contact with Franco Colapinto in Brazil or the quali yesterday, and it's not pure performance. Not only pure performance. For sure, we have to improve on performance. This is clear. But it's more the way you build up the weekend and how you do the expectations and the track preparation. Vasseur also acknowledged that the disconnect between Hamilton's hopes on joining Ferrari and the reality of the team's results this year has fueled some of the Britain's more emotional outbursts. Asked whether failing to hit his usual standards may have bruised Hamilton's pride, Vasseur replied, "Yes, I think you can understand that it's normal that Lewis is not happy with P10 in Vegas, and Ferrari is not happy with P10 in Vegas, and Ferrari is not happy with P6 in Vegas. But now the reaction is to work together to try to do a better job next week, and it's the life of the team." If you remember, Max Verstappen was P11 in Budapest, and it was not the absolute drama. We need to keep this approach and to come back again and again and to try to push again and again and to try to do a better job. The frustration is normal. I would be worried if we didn't have this kind of frustration when we are doing P10. Lewis Hamilton is currently under fire from sections of the Italian press, who claim he's already washing his hands of responsibility at Ferrari. No one expected the Brit to instantly replicate his Mercedes magic after 12 long seasons with his former team. But with only 2 rounds left in his debut year at Maranello, Hamilton finds himself still chasing his first Grand Prix podium in red. Early doubts briefly evaporated when Hamilton snagged a victory in the Chinese GP sprint race, prompting whispers of a resurgence. As it stands, 2025 had other plans. At last weekend's Las Vegas Grand Prix, Hamilton suffered the first last-place qualifying result of his career, though he clawed his way back to P8 thanks in part to McLaren's double DNF. Even so, the 105-time race winner didn't mince words, calling 2025 his worst season ever during media duties in Vegas. But is Hamilton truly doing everything he can to turn Ferrari's fortunes around? Giorgio Terruzzi of Corriere della Sera doesn't believe so. In a sharp-edged column written after the Las Vegas GP, the Italian journalist accused Hamilton of shirking his responsibilities at Ferrari. Terruzzi even described the Ferrari and McLaren driver pairings as 2 duos on the edge of a nervous breakdown, claiming that both Leclerc and Hamilton are fed up with the SF25. The report went further, with Terruzzi writing, "They speak out in spite of the president's warning. They voice criticism that the stopwatch accentuates, refuting both the platitudes uttered on the eve of Las Vegas, agreed upon for reasons of state, but not taken seriously, and Vasseur's descriptions of a lunar landscape. The worst Ferrari, according to Charles, who does not want to take the blame and perhaps does not deserve any. The worst season, according to Lewis, who shirks all responsibility even though he has more than his fair share. Disarmament and disaffection rather than standing to attention. Looking ahead to the sweeping technical regulations arriving in 2026, Ferrari hopes to reset and build a contender capable of ending its long-running championship drought. But Vasseur insists that a revolution within the team is not the answer. You always want to do a better job. It's the DNA of the racing team. And I think if you go through the grid today, except probably Max, everybody would love to do a better job. It means that it's true for us, it's true for the team, it's true for Charles, it's true for Lewis, and we want to get more. But the only way to get more is to work harder and to come back next week with more determination, more focus, and to try to avoid mistakes and to develop the car. But it's nothing that we have to change drastically. So, do you agree with what the Italian media is saying? Is Lewis Hamilton really shirking his responsibilities as Ferrari's driver? Let's argue about it in the comments. And if you haven't, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on the latest in the world of Formula One. Thanks for watching.